Ben jij of hun?
Ja, wat doen we?
Sure. Oh, ja. Moet ik eerst...
Zeg je één idee?
We're discussing who's gonna start first in Dutch.
Ja.
So I think... Go ahead, no? Go ahead.
I win. I start. Welcome to another Bringing It Thunder DataMiner kata. If you have followed last week, we did some setup with Jan, and you're not surprised that I'm wearing the hat and Jan is the host. But again, if you didn't follow...
The guest.
The guest.
I'm the guest.
What did I
You
say?
said the host.
Oh, no.
Since you're so used
So
to
used
me
to
being the
seeing...
host.
Yeah, no. I'm the host. My name is Emily. I'm a principal DevOps engineer at Skyline. And Jan will enlighten us about everything CI/CD.
Indeed, yes, a very passionate topic of mine, as I mentioned in the previous setup video, if you've seen that one. So we're just gonna dive right in, CI/CD automation. In a previous session, we've done a setup of a GitHub organization. So if you are doing this exercise, that is a prerequisite. So one of the prerequisites is having done the entire tutorial. Now, quick note, in the previous session, I talked too much. I didn't do the entire tutorial. I gave you the basics. I gave you the basics to get started. If you follow the tutorial that's documented in text, you'll see a few additional things that you need, that you could set up.
The step-by-step, if they follow
so
that.
I did those in between the scenes. If you need to do them once.
Okay.
I want to focus today on if everything's been set up.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just a developer.
And will you quickly recap those things?
I can go through that,
Very
well,
quickly,
first
just-
let's have a look at the screen again, just to see a high-level overview of what we're doing and where we are. So we are providing with Skyline a DataMiner CI/CD stack, which is all about automating and bringing your code closer to your product. Because you want to do a lot of quality assurance. In the past, that was all done manually. It took a lot of time. Some issues might slip through, and it's a long way back. If it ends up with a user before it gets back to your code to then fix it, we want to bring that closer through a DataMiner CI/CD stack. We have 3 gifts currently that we are giving to everyone. One of them is DIS, which is also a prerequisite for this exercise.
Oh, okay. So for this part, needs DIS installed.
Yes, for this part, I recommend having a look at the previous exercise concerning the Integration Studio DIS. So you'll need a Visual Studio. You'll need the DIS.
Yeah.
Okay. The next gift that we're giving is the DataMiner CI/CD tooling, which we've had a previous exercise about, which was more with the command lines and
the one like 6 months ago that we did.
Something like that. Yeah. And then the previous and the current one is the DataMiner starter workflows.
Okay.
So I say previous because that was the setup of GitHub, and now we're gonna just use it.
Okay.
So the setup just happens once. So you have one, volunteer who has to do it once, and after that,
to configure that, have that organization, have that starter workflows in your organization.
Yes.
Yeah,
so today I'm putting on a different hat. I'm putting on the hat of I'm just a developer in an organization that's already been pre-set up.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So let's just jump into that. I think we'll literally start by showing you what I want. Let's start with that.
That's nice.
That's nice.
The why.
The why.
Why is this session?
What do I want? So I'll go here to here we go. Again, everything is documented. I have it on my screen here.
Docs DataMiner services. You'll find everything.
Yes, going from your code to product. That's what we're doing today.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I want is if I have a DataMiner setup, and you can create a low-code app in there. I won't create one now. I'm just showing you this. If you want to make one, there's plenty of exercises on that as well.
To make it very pretty and that kind of things. Yeah.
But pretty much, part of a low-code app is something called GQI. GQI or queries that you can do. And these contain things like, I want to have input data to visualize it in my low-code app.
Okay. Sometimes also known as the ad hoc data sources.
Yes, also known as ad hoc data sources or GQI. Now, if you do that, you have a drop down here with a bunch of stuff that's provided by default. Getting alarms, getting bookings, elements, all of that. You can add something to that. You can say, I want to make my own code that retrieves data from a service or from a device even, or just, I want to do something special and use that as my data.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I want. So I'm going to have to develop that code. I'm going to have to QA it.
Okay.
It'll have to be published, and I need to put it on this DataMiner.
Okay, so in this session, we'll see how we go from your Visual Studio code
Yes.
and having it appear in this list.
Yes.
Okay.
And if all goes well, with the previous setup, that should be really, really, really fast.
Okay.
Really fast.
Not now, because Jan will talk a lot. Regularly,
was
it
gonna-
will be really, really, really
It
fast.
should be really, really, really fast. So, anyway, how do we get started with that? Well, we begin with Visual Studio. So we're going to open up Visual Studio on computer.
Does it matter which version it is, or?
Well, always recommend to have the latest version of Visual Studio. Same with the DIS extension. Always make sure you have the latest version available.
Okay.
Especially, you know, DIS and Visual Studio versions, they often need to be the latest because sometimes there are some breaking changes
Yeah, okay.
from either side.
And
so-
just a quick, where can they download the latest DIS version?
Well, actually, it's now included in the marketplace of Visual Studio itself.
Okay.
So in Visual Studio, I can show you in a second then when I open it up. But in Visual Studio, you can go to extensions
Yeah,
and
and
you
there-
can find it in the search,
okay.
look for DataMiner,
Yeah.
it'll pop up.
Okay, perfect.
So also updates, it's all the same now, it's within the marketplace.
Okay.
So we're in here, Visual Studio, and I'd like to create a new project. Now, DIS gives you a whole bunch of, again, a bit like the factories that I said previously, templates that pre-configure and pre-do a lot of stuff.
Make your life as a developer very easy.
Make your life
You don't
very
need to
easy.
start from scratch.
So I want to use, in this case, it's here the alternative name, as we said, the ad hoc data source. So it's same GQI data source, ad hoc data source. You know. So we're gonna click on that, and I'm just gonna create a project. Now, the name, we in Skyline have a naming convention. I suggest you use something similar, but you don't have to.
Okay.
The reason I'm suggesting it is because if you use the same naming convention, it's even quicker. Like a lot of the CI/CD will then, I know what that is.
Okay.
I know what that is.
It will recognize that
Yes.
format, and it will.
Now, you don't have to. If you don't use it, there are other ways, which I'll show you then, where you can then explain to the CI/CD setup, what is it? What is
Okay,
it?
yeah.
You know, because a lot of things are based on an automation script, a GQI and ad hoc, it's all based, that's internal stuff, But anyway, so what I'm gonna do here is in my case, I'm gonna say I'm Skyline. You can use a different abbreviation, of course, if for your company or whatever. And this is going to be a GQI data source. So GQI DS, all of that is also in documentation, of course, you'll find that. And I'm just gonna call this my data.
So the format, the convention you're talking about is your company, some abbreviation, then GQI DS,
Yes,
and then a name you pick yourself.
yes.
Yeah,
And that, again, if you don't do it, there are other ways to do it. And we are working on making that not a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
We're working on that. We keep automating and making things easier. So continuing that, I'm just going to keep it data source 1. I'm just going to enter my initials here. I don't need to enable anything. Again, I'm not going to go into the coding of all of this.
Yeah, we're looking at the process, not really.
Looking at the process, indeed. So now this creates a Visual Studio solution that contains the data source, the ad hoc data source, GQI, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's in there. If I would open this, you will...
The CS file.
Yeah, I could now in
C#
here, you know, start typing and program things, you know, doesn't matter anymore. I just type strut, why not? But anyway, this is where you would program everything. Now, imagine I'm maybe not finished, but I've done something that I want to publish. I want to see it. I want to run it through the QA, the CI steps.
Okay.
So to do that, if you go to Git, you can say create a Git repository.
Okay.
Now, what we did previously in a different exercise is we've already pre-set up an organization. So in here, you'll use your account. So I'm now the test user here, but I'm going to select my organization.
Yeah, that one I recognized from last time.
SLC Kata
Yeah.
was our organization there. So I'm selecting that. I'll go public because I'm using the free stuff from GitHub, from Sonar Cloud, and all of that works with public.
Okay.
If you want to use it with private, there's usually a little cost involved.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
just
that's-
the model
yeah,
of how that works. So Make sure this is public if you are doing this exercise. It's all fake anyway, data, so it doesn't matter much. So SOC GQI DS my data. I'm just going to say create and push. Now this takes care already of creating the repository in the GitHub organization.
Okay.
Now there's no factory attached to it yet, so it doesn't automate anything yet.
Yeah, okay.
But we added those starter workflows, and this is now what we're going to show you is how can I say use that.
And apply that
Yeah.
template.
Indeed. So if we go back to Git, you'll see it's a bit bigger now because it recognizes we made a repository. And it also recognizes it's on GitHub. So just a quick tip, if you go here, you can say view pull requests. I don't really care about the pull request necessarily, but it gets me to the GitHub page of the organization. So just a quick...
It's an easy way to get to...
It's just an
where
easy
you
way
need
to
be.
get there.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in pull requests. I am interested in actions.
Where our workflows are.
Correct. So if I click on actions, you'll see these starter workflows here. Now, I mentioned it's a bit internal and stuff. Again, we're always continuing to work on these things. For now, consider it an automation script. Pretty much, if it's not a connector, it's an automation script. It sounds very silly, but we are working on improving that stuff. But
Yeah,
pretty
okay.
much, DataMiner CI/CD automation script. Let's say I want to do the entire CI/CD step, everything.
okay.
Quality, I want to make sure it's all aligned exactly with everything we're doing here. I want to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to click on configure, and this is actually going to immediately give you the template that I was talking about. So this is the factory we pre-prepared for you.
Okay.
You'll notice a big red line.
Something
Wrong.
wrong, something we'll have to
Red
look
lines are usually bad, but you can see there's a to-do there, helpfully added. You just go to the Sonar Cloud, projects create a project, and then you have to put the ID of the project in this place.
at. Okay. Maybe for people that have not yet worked or heard about Sonar Cloud.
Yes, Sonar Cloud. Sonar Cloud is part of our quality gate that we mandatory use here at Skyline.
Yeah.
So if you
But
decide...
it's not a Skyline product.
It is not a Skyline product. So you would have set up a Sonar Cloud organization. You can do that for free as well if you again use all the public stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So setting that up is 10 clicks or something and it's done.
Okay.
So if you go to Sonar Cloud, in this case, we're assuming someone already set that up. And what it does, I didn't explain, what it
Yeah.
specifically does is it analyzes projects.
Okay, so the project we made for our GQI data source, that will be analyzed by
Yeah, it
Sonar
has
Cloud.
thousands of automatic rules that act, it's a computer that acts like a code reviewer.
Ooh, nice.
So it's a code reviewer who is aware of thousands of rules. And it's going to go through that code a lot quicker than I could. And it's going to check, hey, this looks like an infinite loop. Hey, that doesn't look right.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you should check that. So it does all of that automatically.
Yeah.
And that's the power of this automation, is that combined with a whole bunch of other stuff, forms our quality gate,
Yeah.
which can either, open or close. And if everything is okay, it'll pass. If it's not, you'll get a warning and you'll see what's wrong.
Okay, so if the code is incorrect, there's some errors in there, it will not pass to the next step.
Yes. So I'm going to analyze a project from SLC Kata. I went to that link and I can select here the GQI DS my data and just click on setup. In here, you can say what is considered new code,
Okay.
because sometimes it says, I want to check if there have been issues added since the last time. So how do you define the last time?
Okay.
The last time, and usually you'll just say previous version. If you work with a versioning scheme and you work with releases, which for our thing we do,
Yeah, okay.
previous version. So we create this project. And like I said in that to-do, or like was said in the to-do, we need to grab the ID. The ID
Oh, okay, yeah.
is in there.
It's in the IP.
Yeah, that happens often with some of these tools, is that the identifier is up there.
Yeah.
Similar, I think, for catalog as well, like the identifier of an item in the DataMiner catalog
yeah.
is oftentimes also the URL there. So I'm grabbing this, I'm heading back to where I had that red line, and I'm just going to replace this entire thing with that identifier.
Okay.
Okay, and that's it. So it's now good. You see there are always, there are some secrets and tokens.
Security.
Yeah, these we've set up in the organization.
Okay. Yeah.
So I didn't get to that in the last one when we did the video,
Okay.
but in the tutorial I set those up on an occasion. So if you don't have those yet, I recommend having a look at that previous tutorial.
The step-by-step, it's explained there.
It's a few extra steps. I swear without me talking about it, it's 2 minutes work. But anyway, so these secrets are in here. If you don't have them, if you didn't do it within the organization, you could also do it with the settings button here and do it on the repository itself, adding those keys. One of them is what is the agent or the organization that I own in DataMiner. And the other one is what is the token to authenticate with Sonar Cloud.
Okay.
The analysis.
It's just to link everything together.
We're going to commit this. I'm going to commit these changes, put that in there. And you would notice if I go to actions now and give it a minute, maybe do a refresh here, click on something. There we go. So it automatically already says, I detected a change in code. In this case, the code is adding the workflow. And it's already going to run through everything. Now, look at this big boy. Look at this.
It's a big tree.
Look at this. So this is that, I think last time you said, a good years of work went into a lot of things. That's what you're looking at. So
all the Skyline experience.
Yeah. So this is
into these steps.
And this is the gift given for a DevOps community out there if you design your own things. So this is going to do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go into all the details. Suffice to say, a couple of the bigger things it does is the Sonar Cloud analysis, running unit tests. If it's a connector, it will run the DIS validator.
Okay.
If it is not a connector, it doesn't. It will also auto-generate something called a catalog YAML file. That just contains things that allow you to have a nice README on the catalog. It allows you to have nice images. It gives you things like tagging and stuff. So it auto-generates that based on GitHub information. So you can all change that, of course, but we'll do a different exercise on that maybe. I haven't actually requested that one yet, but
it's a good idea.
Hey, if you're watching, I want to do that one. So, anyway, so it's going through all of this. You can see it takes a little time because especially the quality gate, if you click on that, you can see a little deeper. Everything is doing, like I said, it's going to be building things, it's going to do unit tests.
These here, you see all the steps.
So it's always transparent to the end user, to any developer who is interested, who wants to know what exactly is happening here. So this entire thing is now going to do compilation, all of that. It's going to do Sonar Cloud analysis. Now, once all of this is done, I'm not going to wait on that. It's going to go green or red. If it's red, you just need to figure out what's wrong, fix your code. If it's an analysis that gives an issue, If it's green, you're good to go. So this is already the first iteration. This is like an automatic code reviewer sitting next to you. And anytime you want him to review, you just commit and push.
And you can carry on.
You carry on.
Run
You
in
develop,
the background.
it runs in the background. It'll tell you, and the more you do that, you just leave it going. You type some code, and as soon as you think, okay, that's a nice thing, let's send it through, it'll do that.
Okay.
So it's not published anywhere,
right?
But you're getting that feedback loop of quality.
Yeah. Okay.
Very close to developer, bring code product very close together, very important. So if I now say, okay, well, now I want to actually put that on my DataMiner catalog.
Yeah.
I want to make it available so I can deploy it from the DataMiner catalog.
Yeah, okay.
Imagine we want to do that manually still. Like I don't want to automatically deploy it on my DataMiner. I want to have an extra step where I have it in my DataMiner catalog.
Yeah. Okay.
The UI of that. Yeah. So to do that, you pretty much say, I want to create a release. So in GitHub, you can say, I want to create a release. And in here, you can define a tag. So I'm going to say 1.0.0.1. I'm going to use
some versioning, maybe.
A versioning mechanic of your choice. Sometimes we use 4 numbers here. Oftentimes it's semantic versioning with 3 numbers. Doesn't really matter. If you do want to do a pre-release, something like that also exists. You could say, okay, this is an alpha version. Yeah. For this exercise, it doesn't really matter much. So I'm going to say version 1. Again, doesn't matter. In here, you can, if you work with pull requests, you can actually generate a whole bunch of stuff in here. I'm going to leave it as it is. And I'm just going to publish this. Now, pretty much I say, I've released my code.
Yeah. So the code, the project we made in Visual Studio, with this in GitHub, you've released it.
Yes, that means it's going to do another action. The preview one is green, by the way.
Okay.
You can see
so
here.
it passed all the quality checks.
Yes. So you can see here it's all green, so all of that is okay, good to go.
Yeah.
Now, this guy here is giving me an error from GitHub apparently. That's a new one. Okay.
Now the gears in Jan's head start turning.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, what went wrong?
No, I love this stuff. I need to figure out what's happening. But no, let me have a look if I just go back. There we go. Maybe just a quick interruption there. But pretty much so this is going to do the exact same thing. Again, it's going to take a little bit of time. But the extra step it's going to do is here at the end. It's going to do an artifact registration and upload.
Okay.
And this is actually going to put it on the DataMiner catalog. So, and then if you go to the DataMiner catalog and you would search for it, the catalog DataMiner services.
So if you release on GitHub with those things, it will automatically appear.
Yeah, right. You release, version, publish.
Okay.
And it will show up there if it passes the quality gates.
Yeah, but we know it passed, so...
Yeah, we know it's going to pass because we didn't change any code. And, So it's going to end up here, and then if you would look here for the, I think we call it just data source 1 or something, it'll end up in there together with whatever publicly available.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then when you're in there, then you can actually say, okay, I want to deploy it on an agent.
Okay.
Now, fun,
Yeah.
but I want it quicker. Imagine I'm in my development phase and I want to have a quicker setup. I don't really want to release it to the public, but I want it on my DataMiner.
Oh, yeah. Now we use the catalog as a in-between step.
Yeah.
But you want to have it direct.
Yeah. Usually when you're developing, you want it.
And see the result of your code.
Yes. And you want to use that GQI query. In this case, you want to use it.
Yeah.
There's a way to do it quicker. You can skip the quality gate and just put it on a system.
Okay.
Again, be careful with that, of course.
Yeah, probably not recommended for production systems.
No, it is meant for staging setups.
Yeah.
But I want to put that one on here as well to show you and to actually get it on there a little quicker. Although I'm talking so much, this one might actually finish by the time I've done that. But, GitHub, what are you doing today? Okay, we're going back to the actions. I'm going to say a new workflow. So you can add as many factories as you want.
Yeah.
So in here, remember in the previous I said there's something called the deploy only.
Yeah.
I'm just going to add that to it.
And again, we're using automation scripts because
Yep.
it's not a connector.
So this one, no red lines. It doesn't really do any quality gates. It does a lot of our tooling though. So we can just commit that, publish it. And what happens now is this guy here, DataMiner deploy only, is going to run as well. And you see, there's only one step. It's called CD, continuous deployment.
Okay.
This one is actually going to deploy to the staging agent that I've set up. So DataMiner key, the secret that I was talking about in the beginning, that one points to a specific agent.
Okay.
The one that I'm trying to use.
Yeah.
So this one is going through it very rapidly because again, the analysis, you can imagine, even though it's fast, there are 1,000 rules to analyze. Quality gates take a while to do. This one uploads to the catalog in a volatile way. It's not visible.
Okay.
And then it's going to deploy it to a DataMiner. So it's doing this deployment right now. That's usually extremely quick.
So this still uses that catalog as an in-between, but it's not public, it's not available.
No.
Yeah, okay.
So we can see it's green already. So this one went through. That means if I now go and I create a new app in here, give it a moment. And if I go to queries, I'm going to add a new query. And
Exciting. Now, is it there?
Yeah, there's a new thing here called get ad hoc data.
Yeah.
And we can now see that it says data source 1.
Because we only have one data source on this DMA.
I have one. If I were to have a new Visual Studio, I could do the same in like 2 minutes. I make a new Visual Studio. I say I want another data source.
Are you up for the challenge?
I'm not up for the challenge because I talk too much. I talk too much and Murphy would blow up in my face. But I promise you. So in a few minutes time, you make a Visual Studio, you put it on GitHub, you add your starter workflow. In this case, you could do the deploy only.
Yeah.
Click, 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 and it's on there.
Okay. And so if I now in Visual Studio make a change, then what are the steps there? Then I just
You
again...
commit and push. So if I go to Visual Studio, and we can do it, if I just add some text, how am I gonna? I think I can maybe change the name here. That might do it. I don't know. I might break things. Let's try it. So git changes. You'll notice I changed it from data source 1 to 2. So I can just say, we're just gonna do a test here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, what am I? I don't have my name and email. Apparently I forgot some. That's not, no, it's in there. There we go. Commit all and push. And this should be picked up automatically by the factories we've set up, as I like to call them.
Okay.
So if I, let's see, where's my, here we go. So if this is an older one, there we go. So the
repo there, the actions.
Probably already done by the time I'm here. It's probably already done. So we can see that it's picked up that there is a change, and it's now going through the CI/CD of the automation here again. Yeah. I think it actually already went through the deploy. Was I was talking, or is that from 3 minutes ago? I am uncertain.
We're all going so fast.
We're going pretty quick. But pretty much, so this gets picked up, it begins automatically running that, and then in your low-code app.
As soon as you see this green, you have your data source 2 available.
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
Okay.
So it'll
Quite
be
impressive.
In there then. That's pretty much it actually, that's pretty much it. So I could see if it's in there, but I'm not sure. So I'll leave it for what it is. Yeah. But pretty much you commit, you push, it'll get picked up as a code change. It'll start running those workflows and it'll immediately put it on. So theoretically you don't need to check it if you are just working in Visual Studio. Oh, that's why I didn't trigger. I had to pull and then push. That can happen. That can happen. Okay, I was wondering, because that was from 3 minutes ago. I was thinking what's happening, but I think now you'll probably see the correct thing happening. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so now it detected the change, it's happening. So we should actually, it's deploying to staging. Okay. Yeah, sometimes it can happen. You have to pull new changes in and then push them. Yeah, but pretty much.
Okay, and if people long followed, we always end the session with take a screenshot of. What should they take one of?
Well, I think it would be very good. Look, it actually passed. There we go. I think it would be good to have a screenshot of maybe this screen where you've shown that you've run a couple of these workflows on a repository. Yeah. You don't need the exact same amount of things that ran, but if you can show something like that, take a screenshot, send that in, give you those DevOps points pretty much. Okay.
It's really exciting. You no longer need to work with files or whatever, get your code somehow on the DataMiner, just click, and it's there.
Pretty much, yep.
You gotta love DataMiner.
It is something to love, indeed. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
That was the end of this exercise. So.
I guess that's now my cue to have an outro. People, thank you for following along. If you watch this on YouTube, Jan mentioned I should say like and subscribe. And I guess see you next week with your regular host again.
Indeed. Have a nice one. Bye.
See ya. Bye.